Amazing. Happy New Year, everybody, and welcome to Raw's first industry exchange of 2020. I'm your host, Megan Jones, and that was actually the New Van Goes that you guys heard playing. It's their song, Caroline. And of course, if you head over to RAWartists.com/newvangoes, you can check them out. I very much encourage you guys right now. Industry Exchange is about you and about asking questions to the professionals that we're bringing here to you today. So please write in with those questions. We want to answer them. And of course, today we're going to be discussing creative goals for entrepreneurs, creative entrepreneurs just like yourself. Of course, how to set them, how to reach them, and how to make the most of them. So our guest here today is the founder and owner of Rain Shadow Coaching. I'm very excited to have you here, Carrie. Thank you for being on the show and talking to us.
I am very excited to be here.
Yes, so. I'm super stoked to get to learn a little bit more and find out how we can help our creative entrepreneurs out there. So you actually wrote a book. And it's an Amazon actually bestseller, you guys. So make sure you are hopping onto Amazon after this, or hopefully checking it out while you're like Googling it while we're talking about it. Eyes on the Prize, a kick-ass guide to setting and achieving great goals. And we all want that very, very much. I want to achieve and kick ass and have great goals. So share a little bit about yourself with our community of artists here. What inspired you to become an executive and leadership coach?
Well, I actually am a former artist myself. I started out as an artist. I studied theater in school. That's what I got my degree in. I came out to Los Angeles and quickly realized I had to pay rent. So my first job was in casting. I had a friend who was working in casting, and they were not hiring. Okay. So I walked in and I said, I know you're not hiring. I'll work for free until you think I'm worth paying. And they let me work that day.
That's an approach.
And they paid me that day. And they called me in the next day. And within 6 months, I was the right-hand girl in that office.
Amazing.
And it was a great learning experience because I got to learn the business side of performing. I knew it from an actor. In the beginning, I was horrified that you could divide people up by category and ethnicity when they submitted their headshots, because that was, not to date myself, but that was when we submitted headshots instead of thumbnails on the internet. And so I started working there. I was a very frustrated artist because I like to create a plan, execute a plan, and see the success of that plan. And that is not always how the creative life works. You can do everything right as an artist. You can be insanely talented and still not make it. So it's really a combination of talent, persistence, and understanding the business. And I refused to learn the business, and so I wasn't successful. So in casting, we tell people no all the time.
Yeah.
All day long, hundreds of people every day. Not why not how to get better, just no. And I started getting excited about how to get people to hear the word yes. So I started mentoring some actors who had booked quite a bit and then stopped working. They just weren't booking it, didn't know why. Or they'd constantly get to the callback phase and wouldn't get beyond that, and they didn't understand why. And I started working with them because at that point it's mindset and attitude and goal setting. It's not talent and skill.
Sure, yeah. Like it's clear they had talent, right? Otherwise they wouldn't have been booking, right?
Absolutely.
So it sounds like there's a lot of like different hurdles and pain points that you're working with clients on. Can you kind of talk us through some of the most like common hurdles and like how, like what's your process there?
So the process is customizable per client because everybody's different. Everyone has different needs, and to say that there's a process that works for everyone would be a big fat lie. First, we identify where it is you want to be. What is your ideal goal? What is your vision of the future? Not what you think it should be, not what someone else told you you're capable of, but what it is you actually want. Then we get really clear on where you are right now, so we can create the plan step by step to get you from here to there.
Right.
It's not sexy, it's very strategic, but it has to align with what it is you want and desire.
Yeah, you just kind of, sounds like, you're sometimes like bringing back people down to earth, right? It's like they might have lofty goals, or do some people not even realize like where they should be? Like,
so it's a bit of both, right? Sometimes I have to teach people how to dream again. Yeah. Because they're making such small goals that even if they achieved them, who cares?
Right.
And sometimes they're just pie in the sky, and I have to bring them down and say, amazing, that's a great dream. What can we accomplish? What can we control? What can we make happen?
Yeah, baby steps, like how can we get there? That's amazing. So, okay, you guys, if you're just joining us, Welcome. Thank you for turning in. I appreciate that. We're actually chatting live here with Carrie Williams, and she is the founder of Rain Shadow Coaching. So we're talking about setting, reaching goals. It's 2020. It's, this new decade, new year, new you kind of a situation. So you're welcome to join our discussion. Again, type out any questions. We want to hear them. We want to hear all of the things that you have for Carrie. So you wrote a whole book on the topic of goals.
Yes.
Why is it important we set goals?
Well,
why?
As much as it hurts me to say this, let me just be clear. It's not important for everyone.
Okay.
There are some people who just go with the flow and continually fall upward, and that's how they want to live their life. But for the vast majority of us, we need to set an intention about where it is we want to be, where it is what we want to accomplish, and what we want our legacy to be. And it needs to have some intention and some thought behind it so it aligns with our values and our beliefs. Think about it this way, and this is a little morbid, but if you were to die tomorrow, what would you want your obituary to say?
Yeah, that's very fair. Yeah, what would you want people to think about you or say about you? Or I definitely can appreciate that. So you talked about like pie in the sky, the dreamers. What's the difference, I guess, then, right, between a dream and a goal? Like, what's the differentiating factor there?
That's a great question. The only difference is action. That's it. A dream is something you hope for. It's something you wish for. It's something you'd like to have. A goal is something that you want enough that you create a plan and you take action to reach it.
So smart.
Thanks.
So that's duh. Yeah, okay. That's amazing. But that, makes 100 complete sense, right? It's like, unless you are actually making an effort towards those things, it continues to be a dream for you. You continue to wish that you had whatever it is that you're kind of like putting out there. So, can you put any sort of, put us onto why people might abandon goals? Like, maybe this happens a lot around the new year, right? New Year's resolutions. People are like making them, and then at the end of the month, they're like, well, that's out the window.
Yeah. So for those of you watching, I'm going to share some stats. About 98% of you made a New Year's resolution this year, and only 3% of you are still keeping to it. And we're not even 4 weeks into the new year.
Yeah.
So the reason we set a goal and don't achieve it, I think there's primarily two reasons. One, we forget to align our goal with our values. A lot of times we set a goal that someone else gives us, a teacher, a parent, a mentor, a boss. And if we can't align that goal with what we find really valuable, what our core beliefs are, and our core priorities are, we're not going to achieve it. If you can take a goal and align it with what it is you think your purpose in life, have you read, people talk about find your why a lot? That's what they mean. Find how it aligns with you, because once you find your why, just by doing that, you're twice as likely to achieve the goal if you do nothing else. The other reason is, and this is a tough one, I think that when we set goals, we don't like to acknowledge that the goal will take some sacrifice and some change to reach. That's the very nature of a goal. You'd already be there if it wasn't going to take some change.
Yeah.
And I don't think we ever acknowledge how much change and sacrifice it will require, and also how much we're willing to give.
Yeah.
So I've had people come to me and say, I want to be a virtuoso violinist. And I say, amazing, let's do that. And they say, but here's the deal. I only want to practice 3 hours a week. And I want to be there in a year. It makes it a little, they took a possible goal and made it impossible just because of the effort that they were willing to put into it.
Yeah.
And the sacrifice they weren't willing to make.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's kind of, you're having to be really honest with yourself. Like, it sounds like, which is scary, like, for a lot of people.
It's really scary, because usually when we look in the mirror, we either see what we hope others will see or what we fear others are seeing. And I'm asking you to look in the mirror and see what's actually there. That's the first step to setting and achieving a goal, is to be really honest with yourself.
Yeah. Deep cuts. Are we ready for it? Okay, so you guys are listening. Yay! Thanks for writing those questions in. I appreciate that, and Carrie does as well. So, question from the audience: after you set a goal, can you expedite the process?
So you can. Here's the thing. Have you heard the saying, it takes 21 days to set a habit or to reach a goal?
Yes.
I'm sorry to say that is BS. What they're hoping will happen in 21 days is that you will change your thought process so that new habit will become ingrained. But if you don't, if every day you resent it and you go, I'm going to do this for 21 days, guess what happens on the 22nd day?
You're back.
You're back. So you can expedite the process, and it really means you have to work on your mindset about it. You have to work on the self-talk and the way you talk about this goal. If you talk about how hard it is to achieve and how much effort it's going to take to reach it, then it's going to be hard and it's going to take a lot of effort. The other thing that you can do is focus some time every single day, even if it's just 10 minutes, because that's going to keep your goal at the forefront of your life. And what we find is if we put something down and we forget about it and we don't think about it, we don't take action on it, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's super interesting because, I don't think a lot of people necessarily, what I mean is about the language, right? About the language we're using in regards to how we're talking about ourselves, how that then affects, it's like the trickle down effect, right? It just kind of like affects everything. So very, very interesting. Okay, so thank you for the question from the audience. You guys keep those coming in. We really appreciate that. So how does one go about setting a great goal for themselves? Great.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can't see the book, but GREAT is an acronym. So for those of you who have ever studied goals, you probably studied SMART goals. Did you ever study SMART goals? Okay. That was developed in the 80s and it hasn't been changed since. And I got to tell you, the people setting goals today are very different than the people setting goals in the 80s.
Yes, they are.
We have different needs, we have different priorities. So I worked with my clients and I tried to identify what it was that they did that made them successful with setting their goal and made it more likely that they would achieve the goal. So I created GREAT, and the G stands for genuine, which we've already talked about. Making sure that that goal aligns with your core beliefs, your core values, and your desires, right? Figuring out a way to align it in some way so that it is autonomous and it's self-motivated. The R stands for reachable. We talked a little bit about that, right? How much effort, money, sacrifice are you willing to put into reaching it? The E stands for be as specific as exact as possible.
Okay.
So the who, the what, the when, the where, and the why of your goal. Make sure you know that. The A stands for affirmative in nature, and we actually just started touching on this. So how many times have you heard somebody set a goal where they're trying to avoid or stop doing something?
Yeah. A number of times.
Quit smoking, lose weight, stop procrastinating. Those are all inherently negative goals. We are not inherently negative as human beings. We strive for the positive. We strive to gain and to grow and to learn. So by setting your goal in an affirmative nature as something that you can work towards instead of avoid, you're more likely to reach it. Make sense? So instead of, for example, this isn't very creative, but if you want to stop smoking, instead of saying I will stop smoking, if you can shift it and say I will have happy, healthy lungs, well, to do that, you're going to have to stop smoking, but you're not just focusing on the negative.
Yeah.
Because if the goal is to stop smoking, the minute you have a cigarette, you've failed. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, and again, it's like changing the language around it, right? And also, I can see that too, is like that mindset. You're almost feeling like, even though smoking's bad, you feel like you're like cheating yourself of something that you should have because you can have it. And then you're like, oh, well, I don't want to do that. I'm cheating myself. Well, I'm going to go back to it, Right. So it's very interesting changing that.
So then the last thing is the T. And some people love this and some people hate this. The T stands for totalitarian. And when I say that, what I mean is you have to make sure that your goal is within your control. And this one is really hard for artists because if you're a performing artist, usually the goal is to win the award or to book the job. If you're a visual artist, it's usually to book the show or sell the piece of artwork, right? Or to get the recognition. Those all depend on other people, not just you. So the key is to really set goals that you can control the outcome of. If you can't figure out a goal that you can control the outcome of, you just have to recognize that it's out of your control and then set sub goals that are completely within your control. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. Because
it's so frustrating to do everything you can to reach a goal. You do everything right, and then at the last minute you don't reach it because they pick someone else.
Right.
What do you think happens next time you set a goal?
Yeah.
You don't work as hard.
Yeah, you're like knocked off your horse. You're like, not going to do that again.
Right.
That's very interesting. Stay on the horse, guys. It's okay. Keep going. So is it okay for your goals to change? I guess like after you've written them down, are we like set in stone at that point?
No.
Okay.
Because we're constantly growing and developing as humans and
Yeah.
individuals, right?
Yeah.
Here's where it becomes a problem. If you are the kind of person that every time you write a goal, you then change the goal because you didn't reach the goal, if you are modifying your goal instead of modifying yourself and your actions to reach the goal, then that's the problem.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
we all know habitual goal changers, right?
Yes, yes. I have some people like that. We won't name names, but yeah, we all do. So, and that kind of goes into my next question, sort of like, I guess, about mindset, right? We've talked about this a couple of times. You have to be in the right mindset, but what kind of mindset and or traits, I guess, do you need for a successful goal journey? What are we harnessing ourselves with?
Okay, I love talking about mindset. If you guys like to read books, there is a book called Mindset by Carol S. Dweck. I do not get any money if you buy the book on Amazon and read it. I just read the book and I like it and I use it with my clients quite often. When we think about mindset, we usually think in terms of positive and negative, and I think that does us a disservice.
Okay.
We need to think in terms of growth and fixed. So growth mindset really believes that with effort and hard work and dedication, you can accomplish anything. Fixed mindset believes that the talent you're born with is the talent you have, and no matter what you do, you can't make it better, right? And I know artists with both mindsets, those that believe they were born with their talent and those that believe they've learned their talent, right? Growth mindset is where we want to be because growth mindset really rewards effort. It really rewards the journey instead of the end accomplishment. If you're in growth mindset and you come up against a challenge, you get excited by the challenge because you realize it's a chance to learn. If you're fixed, you get scared because you realize it's a chance to fail. Right? What do you think happens if you believe the skills you have are all the skills you have and you have to defend and protect them?
Yeah, no, I'm going into battle mode.
You're going to go into battle mode. You're going to start avoiding anything that you don't think you can immediately be an expert in.
Yeah.
Anything that you think you might fail at, you will stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, that's a very, I feel like I've heard that before. I don't know if it was like a management technique, but that it's such a great way to kind of think about that too, because again, you're not gonna, what I also see there is being afraid of change, right? That fixed mindset is they know that maybe change, whether it's good or bad, can kind of knock them from their path. Whereas somebody with the growth mindset is no, I feel like this is only going to make me better.
Right. And the growth mindset, when they get criticism and feedback, they can look at it, discern what is true, and take it appropriately. Fixed mindset really doesn't like feedback because they hear it as blame.
Sure.
So they will blame someone else. And what I love the most is that growth mindset, when the people around them are successful, they get inspired and become more successful. If you're a fixed mindset, you really believe that there's only so much in the pie, and if somebody else gets a bigger piece of the pie, then that means your piece is smaller. And so, they get discouraged.
Got to get this growth mindset. Let's set it. Some more questions from the audience. I'm sorry, I'm being flagged here. Can you repeat the acronym for GREAT?
Yes. Genuine, reachable, exact, affirmative, and totalitarian. And not to plug my book, but if you want to go through this and you don't want to work with a coach and you want to follow it step by step, the book that I wrote is really, it's like having a coach in your pocket.
Yeah.
And it's a chapter and then you do some exercises with it. So you can go through the whole book on your own.
Yeah, that's great. That's amazing. Which I find having a nice guide sometimes, right? It's especially if you don't want to jump into the deep end and you just kind of want to take it in your own pace. If this is the first time you're diving into something like this, then having the book is probably a really good idea. Yeah. Okay, so the difference between a goal and one's purpose.
Oh, that's a really good one.
Nice.
So
love this, y'all.
I think that for me, a purpose is your overall drive. It's your overall motivation. I think of purpose as your legacy. What is it you want to leave behind? What's the impact you want to have? And I think that goals help you live and spread your purpose. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
Because goals are a little more micro and purpose is definitely macro.
Macro, for sure. Yeah. No, that's a great explanation of that.
Where you can harness synergy is when you can align your goals with your purpose.
Yeah.
If you can align them, there will be nothing to stop you.
An unstoppable force. I love that. Speaking of unstoppable forces, sometimes, and we talked a couple about this, or I have, or a theme I've noticed is around language and words. And I know sometimes what I like to do is like put little words or phrases for myself, like either on my bathroom mirror or just around to like remind myself that I'm an amazing human, or remind myself of a particular goal that I want to achieve. That kind of goes along with motivational quotes. Love motivational quotes. Who does not, love a motivational quote? Because sometimes, man, deep cuts, right? They just resonate with you. Something is just like, oh, I'm feeling that right now. Do you have a favorite motivational quote? Because I can imagine
So I get excited by motivational quotes, but it's very rare that I carry one with me. If I'm going to be completely honest, the one that I say in my brain most often is Nike's slogan of just do it, right? Like, come on, just do it.
Yeah.
But the one that I love the most, I think, was Aristotle. And what he said was, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, therefore, is not an act, but a habit. And here's why I love that. I say this to my clients all the time. You are going to be really great at what you practice consistently. So if you practice doubting yourself, that's what you're great at. If you practice quitting, you're a great quitter. If you practice procrastinating, you're going to be amazing at it. If you practice art every day, you will be an amazing artist.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, she's giving me deep cuts, y'all. She's just like right to the soul. It's so true. It's so true. And just like you were saying, just even 10 minutes a day to like put towards that effort. Super important.
Amazingly important.
Yeah.
And I know that people all the time say 10 minutes a day will change your life. Honestly, 10 minutes a day towards your goal, you will eventually reach your goal.
Yeah.
You will.
Yeah. Do it. 10 minutes a day. Put a timer on. I don't know, something. I have to actually have a timer on to remember to drink water, but that's another story for another day. So for those that are interested in learning more, of course, about this topic, number one, where can they get a copy of the book?
So the book is on Amazon.com. It's
Okay.
Eyes on the Prize, a kick-ass guide to setting and achieving great goals. If you want to get it directly from me and get a signed copy and get a few extra little bits with it, you can go to eyesontheprizebook.com. And as we all know, it's better to support the artist directly.
It is.
Because you can pay Amazon or you can pay me.
Yes. And you get extra things. That's all I heard.
You do.
I love that.
You get a certificate of commitment, which is part of the first chapter. There's other things you get as well.
Yeah.
And you get to be part of the community, because there are other people in the world who are setting goals and working really hard towards reaching them. And they want to support you, and they need your support as well.
Definitely.
And especially, I think, in the artist community, it's incredibly important to, if you want to be supported, the first step is to support.
Yeah, it really is. I can't tell you, I've been working with artists for over a decade, and community is so important. Without community, I don't think, I would have taken half the amount of chances on anything, on any project or person, if it weren't for like that community supporting me to back that up. So that's awesome too, that there's this other community, and nice to know, like, I'm not the only one out there, like, on the struggle bus here, trying to make it through. So.
Right. And the other thing to remember, if you're on the struggle bus, you're on the bus.
Yeah.
It is okay to struggle. It is okay if you fail 51 times, because it might be the 52nd time that you succeed.
Yeah. So not only is there the book where you can follow along, there's worksheets like Carrie said, but you offer one-on-one coaching sessions. So if you can tell us, I guess, like the best way to get in touch with you about that, and then like how that works.
Sure. So I do a lot of group coaching and one-on-one coaching. Quite a few of my clients are artists. I offer a 30-minute strategy session to kind of help them develop their goal, or to help them figure out the next step or two if they already know what their goal is, where they need to focus. That is complimentary. Now, I know that there are a lot of you listening right now, and I don't have time to meet with all 100,000 of you, but you can go to my website, rainshadowcoaching.com/book-a-session. There's a calendar there. As I have time available, it will come up. I'll put the time there, and you just sign up. I do ask this: if you sign up, show up. because you're taking that spot from somebody else who might really use it. And that's the first step in reaching your goal, is just to commit and show.
Yeah, like if you can't do that, y'all, then maybe bigger issues at hand. I'm not quite sure. So if you are a raw artist, you can book a complimentary 30-minute strategy session. Okay, so it's via a phone call or video chat with this wonderful woman right here. So of course, like she said, it's pending availability. So make sure you get to the website, show up once you sign up.
Also, the calendar is only posted for the next month. So if it's completely full, just wait a couple days. There will be more days that crop up.
It's amazing. And offering a sliding scale on pricing for further sessions. So you can head over to also, we have the information every which way of Sunday, rawartists.com/rawwords is where you can find that out. And of course, everything will be on our site, in the YouTube channel, in the link. We'll link you, ask a question here, we'll send you the sites, anything that you want to know. We want to make sure you're supplied with the information. So I think we're getting another question here from the audience.
This
is
a
exciting. Big one. It's like coming at me. Okay. Oh, okay, that's really great. How do you motivate yourself when you're feeling doubtful?
So,
I mean, especially as like, you know, because like everybody gets the SADS, right? But maybe you as yourself, right?
I get the SADS too. I'm human.
Right,
right?
Exactly.
There are times where I'm just not motivated and I'm not feeling it and I start to doubt my power. And here's the tip I use, and it might be silly, but I'll be a little vulnerable here.
Love it.
Pick somebody that you really admire and esteem and is where you want to be. In my case, I'm a little embarrassed. It's Oprah. I love Oprah. I think she had an amazing impact.
We love us some Oprah.
She changed people's lives. And so in that moment, when I'm feeling doubt and I'm feeling unmotivated, I simply say, what would Oprah do right now? Because odds are Oprah would make that phone call I don't want to make, or she'd get through that stuff that I'm procrastinating on, or she'd get herself excited, or she'd meditate, or she would do something. And so sometimes it's easier to think about someone who's already where you want to be and just say, well, what would they do? Because I guarantee it, if you start taking that action, those doubts will wash away.
What would Oprah do? You might have just started a trend. People are going to like start bracelets, having what would Oprah do bracelets maybe? I don't know. Maybe you're an artist out there who already has them. That would be awesome. I got dibs on any sort of rights there. But I'm sure Oprah owns her own name. Yeah. Sorry, Oprah. That's amazing though, and I think that like, you know, not that anybody asked, but the writing down of like little things for myself. That's kind of how I think I get through, because also then I feel like they're little like hidden notes to myself.
So this is brilliant. These are other techniques you can use really quickly. You can start a gratitude journal. Every night, just write 3 things you appreciate about yourself that you accomplished. You can start a compliment journal. Every time somebody says something amazing about you, write it down, because there are going to be days where you need to look at it.
I love that. And I think that 3 things you can, okay, we're getting thrown so many questions. I feel like that actually just answered your question. That might have been a premonition. 3 things that you can do to reach your goals daily. And honestly, I think that is important too, is like keeping yourself motivated to reach those goals, not only making baby steps towards the actual goal with actionable items, but
remind yourself what your goal is every day. That's going to help you. Set 10 minutes a day aside. That's going to help you. And set an intention every morning. We have one more question. It's a good one.
Oh my goodness, you guys, I love it. What if you have too many goals? Can you have too many goals?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Not overall in life, but really
at one time.
Focus on 3 goals max at once, because we're talking about making change and putting effort in. And what's happening is if you focus on 10 goals at once, you're going to make such slow progress on each one. It gets really frustrating. So pick a pillar, build the pillar first.
Yeah.
If it's a house, build 1 wall first. Don't try and build all 4 walls at once.
Yeah, that makes 100%. I'm always trying to like do too much at one time.
We all do.
Guilty as charged. Oh my gosh, I want to like talk so much more about this, and there were all these questions coming in. Now I'm like just super amped, but that is like all the time we have, y'all. This 30 minutes just flew by. Thank you very much, you creative entrepreneurs out there. And thank you so much, Carrie, for being here and chatting with me and with our audience, our team. We hope that this chat has inspired you guys to start setting those goals. Honestly, get in touch with Carrie. It's just like her personality here is just very motivating and inspiring, just being around her. So
Thank you.
I'm sure that's going to come through in the book, and having a workbook to be able to work through some of these things is super important. So a guide for that. Thank you for watching. Thank you to Carrie for taking the time to speak with us. Remember, Industry Exchange is a monthly live stream, so be here next month, the last Tuesday of every month. We'll be here in February. Come back to see us. I'm Megan Jones. Thank you guys so much for your time. We'll see you next month.
Bye, guys.
Bye.